From Jin-woo, getting a power-up by suffering more than guts, only to end up with a wooden sword instead of the Dragon Slayer, to his own teammates watching a poor bastard get diced up like barbecue meat just so they could save their own skins. Today, I'm gonna break down how Jin-woo went from being the system's punching bag to the nightmare of everyone who ever clowned on him. Deadass, this is my first time reading this manhwa, so if I mess up, feel free to roast me in the comments. Anyway, buckle up, cause here we go. First off, some quick context. Our boy Jin-woo isn't out partying, getting into trouble, or experimenting with questionable substances. Nah, my guy spent his time binge-watching Sword Art Online, just like me. Then one day he finally grows up and becomes a hunter, which basically means he jumps into sketchy-ass portals to beat the crap out of monsters and hopefully get paid. Think of it like a real-life battle royale. Survive and get rich, or screw up and end up as a monster's lunch. Now, in theory, our dude is technically a hunter, but there's a small problem. He's broke as hell. Like, dude can't even afford bus fare. And instead of, getting a degree or making a LinkedIn, he just went, screw it, I'd rather risk my life than flip burgers at McDonald's. The worst part? Instead of getting respect for his bravery or sheer lack of self-preservation, he's literally the guild's punching bag. They treat him like a walking L and even use him as bait during missions. So one day, these geniuses decide to roll into a D-rank dungeon. Everything's chill, everything's cool, except for our boy, who's out here holding on to life by a thread, fully living up to his title as the weakest hunter. Lucky for him, there's this chick, Lee Joo-hee, who takes pity on his sorry ass and heals him up. Otherwise, he'd have died in the tutorial. But now, here's where the real shit show begins. The squad stumbles upon the final boss, and they've got two choices. 1. Call for backup and live to see another day. 2. YOLO it and fight for that sweet, sweet cash. Naturally, because they're all brain dead, they vote on it, and it ends in a tie. And guess who gets the deciding vote? Yup, the one dude everyone agrees is the most useless. Jin-woo, being broke and desperate to pay for his sick mom's treatment, mans up and drops the legendary line, no risk, no cheddar. And that, my friends, is how this absolute dumbass kickstarts one of the biggest massacres in manhwa history. So brutal it makes Berserk look like a bedtime story. Arms flying here, legs getting turned into spaghetti over there. This shit straight up turns into a slaughterhouse. One of them gets reduced to what I can only describe as human Cocoa Puffs. At this point, anyone with half a brain would have spammed surrender in the chat and flamed the jungler, cause holy hell they got clapped. But wait, there's more. In the middle of all this carnage, they find this weird-ass chamber, creepier than British food. Inside, there are statues covered in rune inscriptions that, surprise, surprise, come to life. And guess what? They hit them with a tutorial they can't skip. Follow these rules or say hi to God for us. So our boy, with his 5-digit IQ, tells everyone they better follow the rules unless they want to end up like that dude who got turned into breakfast cereal. First rule, the statues won't attack if you stay still at a certain height. Solution, our dude drops to his knees like he's worshiping his one true god. Everyone else looks at him like he's lost his damn mind, but at this point, what do they have to lose? So yeah, they copy him. And it actually works until the statue gets bored and pulls out a creepy-ass smile. Like when you finally find that video on the Orange site at 2 a.m. Just when they think they passed the test, the statue casually lifts its foot, no OnlyFans required, and looks real ready to stomp some fools. Before they all get turned into human pancakes, our boy Jin-woo big brains the situation and figures out they need to worship it. Enter some dude who flexes that he was in the school choir and starts belting out "Open the Eyes of My Heart." Results? Immediate smite. Dude got stomped into next week for trying to be a main character. At this point, full-blown panic. Everyone's running around like headless chickens, dropping like dominoes. But Jin-woo, in full 1000 IQ mode, notices that the statues with instruments aren't attacking. So now it's a goddamn marathon to get under them. He tries to share cover with Joo-hee, but turns out the game's rules don't allow co-op mode. In a full Shounen Protagonist moment, he tells her to stay put while he finds another statue. And because, of course, he's the protagonist, he makes it, but not before losing a leg in the most brutal, sane way possible, crushed by a statue's shield. So yeah, our hero's still alive, but let's just say he won't be running marathons anytime soon. Now, everyone turns on Mr. Song because, surprise, surprise, it was his genius idea to vote on whether to fight or call for backup. But honestly, at this point, it doesn't even matter. The game ain't over yet. And now there's an altar in the middle of the room. Not just any altar, though. A sacrifice altar. And this is where our boy, seemingly the only one with 2 functioning brain cells, lays it out for us. In ancient mythology, these kinds of altars were for sacrifices. And guess what? The final rule is called Trial of Faith, meaning someone's got to take the express trip to Jesus. Obvious pick, Mr. Song. So dude steps up, all noble and self-sacrificing, but nothing happens. Just some flames and that's it. Something's off. And because Jin Woo has a PhD in making shit worse, he decides to check it out. You know, on one leg and all. But before they can figure it out, the game drops one final world-ending twist. If this dungeon stays open for 7 days and the monsters aren't defeated, then congrats. The whole damn world is fucked. So, our boy starts yelling at everyone to haul ass over here ASAP. And right when they do, boom, the flames light up and a freaking door opens. Looks like things are finally going relatively well. But, of course, that doesn't last long, because these damn statues start moving again. At this point, our genius protag pulls another theory straight out of his ass. If we stare at them, they won't attack. Sounds dumb as hell, but let's be real. Dumb shit always ends up working in this world, except 2 absolute Mensa candidates decide that playing freeze tag with murder statues isn't for them and take off running at full speed. Meanwhile, Mr. Kim takes this perfect opportunity to drop some last-minute wisdom on our protag. Like, you know, you weren't actually that useless. We made it this far thanks to you. And then, dude just books it for the exit like his life depends on it. Bro. No fucking way. They're literally making a cripple carry the whole game while everyone else just stands around doing absolutely nothing. And of course, they send the one guy who wasn't supposed to die as a human sacrifice. Fucking idiots, man. Anyway, the only ones who stay behind are Mr. Song and our boy's crush, Juhi. But our MC, being the self-sacrificing Shounen protagonist that he is, decides to take one for the team so they can escape. And surprise, surprise, since he's the main character, he probably won't die. Except the statues immediately turn him into a freaking human shish kebab and skewer him like a damn steak. The pain is so damn real, I bet even the editors had to sit down and ask themselves if they really wanted to put their main character through this much suffering. But just when it looks like it's all over, a hologram pops up like, "Congrats! You just unlocked the biggest quest of your life." Basically, he has 2 options: hit accept and live, or decline and get permanently deleted from existence. And since he's in no position to negotiate, he slams that accept button without even knowing if he just sold his soul to the literal devil. And just like that, our boy wakes up in a hospital bed, like the whole thing was just a bad dream. But nah, the second he turns his head, boom, the men in black walk in, ready to grill him with questions. Turns out, my guy was in a coma for 3 days. When backup finally arrived, they found him lying there, completely KO'd. But here's where things get weird. Every survivor's testimony is messier than someone trying to come up with an excuse for showing up late to work. So now, people are suspecting that our boy might have had a double awakening. What does that mean? Basically, he might have just unlocked God mode. Imagine running marathons without breaking a sweat, working 24/7 without bitching about it, or, well, you know, handling business even with a fever without passing out. Dude would be straight up broken. Obviously, the men in black ain't just gonna take his word for it, so they tell him they need to run some tests. And this is where shit gets weird, because apparently to confirm everything, they need to shove a machine up his ass. Our boy has a full-blown existential crisis on the spot, but in the end, the tests come back negative, meaning, yeah, he's still a certified bottom-tier loser among hunters. Tragic. The agents dip, leaving him all confused and shit, but then, bam, a screen pops up in front of him. And no, it's not one of those sketchy-ass pop-ups telling him he won a free iPhone. This is different. Nobody else can see it. But in between all the spam, there's one message that stands out. It basically says he has to complete a daily quest. If he doesn't, he dies. And obviously, my guy is like, Lamau, yeah, okay, and ignores it, because who the hell takes a random pop-up seriously? So he just goes back to sleep. But a few hours later, boom, the entire hospital starts shaking, and before he can even react, he gets yeeted into some random-ass desert, right in front of a giant fucking monster. At this point, the only thing he can do is run like his ex just texted him asking to get back together. Luckily, this nightmare has a time limit, so he survives by pure dumb luck, though he ends up looking like absolute roadkill by the end. From that day on, the system basically slaps an invisible shock collar on him and forces him into the One Punch Man training regimen. 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, 10-kilometer run every single day, until he's completely fucking bald. After sweating his ass off for a while, the system finally throws him a bone, a key to a dungeon. And at this point, our boy is in full, fuck it, let's see what happens mode. So he just walks in like he's got nothing left to lose. I mean, what could possibly go wrong when his entire life is already a complete dumpster fire? Inside, he finds himself in some Resident Evil level nightmare fuel. We're talking dogs, some freaky-ass mutant monkeys, and a big-ass snake as the final boss. At first, our guy can't do jack shit against it, like 0 damage. But then, boom, flashback time. And not just any flashback, nah. We get damn near an entire chapter's worth of backstory just to remind us why he needs to win. So, with his newfound determination, he goes in for round 2, and still gets his ass handed to him. So he WWE body slams the snake into oblivion and somehow clutches the win. My dude gets stacked, straight up Fortnite Victory Royale levels of loot. And let me tell you, dear viewer, these episodes have been straight up cinema, and there are a couple things I gotta talk about. All I can say is that our guy's teammates were acting all cocky with him, and the worst part, they still ended up getting carried by a cripple. I just hope the MC gets his revenge in the next chapters, or I'm gonna be seriously disappointed. If you liked the video, drop a like and hit me up in the comments. Do you think Solo Leveling is the undisputed GOAT of Manhwa, or do you 100% disagree and think I should never post another video in my life? Either way, hit that subscribe button. It helps a ton. And with that, I'm out. See y'all in the next one. Peace out.